Okay, you can go ahead.
Hi, everybody. My name is Afia Techianan. I am a 29-year-old woman, mother of 3 kids, owner of a few businesses, such as African Royalty. I do YouTube as well. I coach basketball. I am also the co-founder of an anti-Black racism group called Black Lives for Change. Last night we actually did a huge showcase, showcasing artists in Toronto and giving them the platform to reach new audiences. So that was great. And yeah, I'm just a millennial mom, just trying to get by, trying to figure it out and make a better way for my kids and myself.
Great. I'm Doujone McLarty, Dwania's sister. I'm also a mom of 1. My son is 10. Here's Janelle. Janelle. We're just doing introductions. I'm the owner of Jone Beauty. I'm a travel nurse and I do Botox injections and fillers. And I myself am a Black woman in Canada. I've spent most of my life here, majority of my life here. And I guess we're going to get into discussing how it is to be a millennial and be Black in Canada. You know?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, because I could hear everything you guys are saying, but you couldn't see me or hear me. It was like all messed up.
But now
hey guys, I'm Janelle McLarty, Dwania's other sister. I'm a WordPress and Shopify designer, websites, and I actually like teaching people how to build websites as well. So I'm here, let's say, as a millennial who is an entrepreneur and a Black female in Canada to discuss my experiences with you guys. So yeah, I don't know if this is like moderated or led by us, or is Dwania gonna like pop in?
No, it's moderated and led by us.
Cool.
So I'm figuring that from our perspective, being Black millennials in Canada, a lot of it is going to be us all growing up in here, going to school here, and now we're entering our adulthood and we're still kind of here. So it's like you're hearing all the things that are happening around us, you're witnessing the things that are happening closely to you, and how do those things like compare? Because when I hear the things that are happening in the world, and then I'm recalling the experiences I've had in school, I'm like, when it was happening, I don't think I really clued into it that much. And now as an adult and I'm seeing all the things that are happening around me, I'm like having hindsight and I'm like, that moment wasn't that okay, or that, you know, and it's starting, the experiences are starting to not quite add up. And I don't want those experiences to now happen to our kids. Because I'm like, you might not recognize it right now, but it took me till now to now recognize my grievances and the things that I've been through.
See, that's the problem that I find is happening to a lot of friends that I have. Doujone and I grew up in the same area. We went to different schools, but we are friends. We have the same friends. So I had another friend who told me that she had at the time, she didn't think the things that were happening to her could relate to her being a Black body, a Black person. And I definitely knew. I was going through those things, and I would speak up on it. And then I got labeled confrontational, problematic, which are terms, these are the microaggressions that people put out there to label Black people, instead of actually getting down to the bottom of what's going on. They're trigger words, it's gaslighting. For me, I was lucky because both my parents are educators, so they knew what was going on as well, which is why I was able to know what was going on. So they were in my school. All of our friends knew when my parents, Taylor Sienna was outside, something was going down in the office, and they were there to fight for us and let us know, like, we know exactly what you guys are doing. A lot of people didn't have that. Some of our friends come from single parent homes. Some of our friends' parents were working all the time, didn't have the time to stand up for their children, or maybe didn't take what their children were going through as seriously. It's very disheartening, and I'm angered. I'm even more angry now, recalling my experiences as a child, because I was yelling these things as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, a high schooler, and nobody wanted to listen. My parents were screaming from the rooftop. Nobody was listening. And this is things that happen every day and continue to happen. And I am scared for my children as well. I definitely thought that they wouldn't go through some of the things that I went through because they're lighter skinned. And I thought that where we live, it has become more diverse, because when we first moved to where we live, nobody looked like us. Like, we kind of probably latched onto each other because we're like, oh my God, you're black too? You live out, girl, we're friends, you know? So it became diverse, but my son experienced racism, and then I had to take his innocence away and explain to him why in grade 1, somebody's making comments about his hair. That's not fair. That's not something anybody else's children has to go through. Non-people of color children have to go through. It's not fair, right? And so being a millennial is also realizing that, like, there's things that happened in the past that maybe our parents were silent about, or not as vocal, but it also comes from the fact that most of them were immigrants. And I think they were silent because they were scared. If I speak up, I can be deported. They'll get rid of me. And so now in our age group, where we are first generation Canadians, it's like, I live here. You can't do anything to me. So I'm going to speak up. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to stand up. That's where I'm coming from. You know, that's my mind state. And I think it's about bridging the gap between our parents and our children, and being the vessel for change. And yeah.
I have a quick question. Is there one specific experience that you've had in school that, like, stands out that you now recognize looking back, like, that wasn't okay?
I have a ton. I have a ton. In elementary school, we went on a trip to Muskoka for our grade 8 trip. All the girls in the room were loud, talking, laughing. I was actually going to sleep. I was tired. The principal came in the room and immediately assumed it was me. And why? Because I'm the outspoken one. I'm the one who has something to say about most things that are going on. So when it came down to disciplining, my name was the only name called out. Right? So that's one of the problems I had. Right? Hold on one second. That's my daughter. Give me 1 second.
No, it's okay. We'll continue the conversation. Janelle, is there any experience that you had in school that stands out that you now recognize wasn't okay?
Well, I'll back it up to, in general, my experience as a Black millennial in Canada, starting from when we came here in, elementary school, was amazing, oblivious to race. Going to middle school, amazing. We had like a majority Black school. Oblivious to race again. And then going to high school, even better. My high school in Toronto was literally 60% Black, 20% Asian, and then there was like minuscule, like, you know, European. And then I transferred to a school in Maple, so a little bit up north. Even better. We were the first group of Black kids to just come over up north and take over this school that didn't even have a grade 12 yet. And we were looked at as the cool kids because we're Black, we're cultured. Everyone wants to do what we're doing. Everyone wants to dress like we dress. They want their hair like our hair. So college was the same. I had an amazing experience as a Black Canadian millennial throughout my entire school life. And then when it's time to hit the workforce, bam, did I get smacked with some racism. My first experience and job after college was in construction. Construction, the industry is dominated with white, male, older people. And I am a female, younger, Black woman. So I got hit with racism, sexism, everyism. And I'm like, okay, that whole, let's say, time period, I think it was 3-4 years in that industry, molded me to what I am today. I feel like I just got smacked with it, didn't even know what I was getting hit with. And yeah, as I said, getting it in that little realm of my life, it makes me it prepared me to handle any industry I get into today, anybody I meet today. So I don't know. I feel like that was my big learning experience. Yeah. Contracting,
Okay.
construction.
For me, I have kind of like a mix of both. I feel like when we first came here, I was in kindergarten, grade 1, and yeah, I went to a mostly Black school. Everything, I had an amazing experience in elementary school. And then when I was in middle school, when we came up north to Maple, and again, I had a pretty good experience. I went to a school that was mostly brown people at that time. We called brown people Black. Like, we had almost the same skin tone, if not some of them were darker than me. So I didn't have those issues in elementary school. Now transferring to high school, I went to a predominantly white high school. I was part of a small percentage of people that were Black in my high school. That's where it was kind of like, I didn't really realize a lot of things that were going on until I've gotten older and I'm looking back. Like, there's times that I remember even, I went to a Catholic high school and we'd have like mass, and I would go to mass, but like all the classes would go outside for mass, every single class. But then I see them approaching like me and my friends, and my group of friends are Black and a couple Spanish, and they would only ask us, are you going to mass? But everybody else, they'll just walk through the door. Like, it's like they're standing at the door letting everybody in, and they'll stop us and be like, are you guys going to mass? And we're like, we're walking with everybody, like, into the door. And it was like, I didn't think about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going. And I just walked in. But I'm like, why did they choose to stop us and ask us and not ask anybody else if they're going to mass? It's like an assumption that everybody that doesn't look like us goes to church, and people that look like us don't go to Catholic church. And a lot of the times they would ask you to get in, are you Catholic? Are you Catholic? And I'm like, you don't ask anybody else that, but you ask like the people who are of color. And then later on, as the years go by in high school, you start to see those things kind of occur in sports. So I played a lot of sports, and I was the only Black girl on a lot of the sports teams, like basketball and volleyball. And when it came time to like pick an MVP or pick a starting lineup or anything like that, it's like they kind of want to leave me as the last pick all the time.
But
like,
they need you. But they needed you on the team.
But they need me. They need me. Right. So at one point, they want me to play on 2 teams that overlap seasons, and they'll stretch me and put me here and there. But they won't acknowledge the good work that I do for their team. They don't want to make me MVP. They don't, year after year after year, I'd get like the most points in the team, but they don't want to make me captain. They don't even want to make me co-captain. It's like, and other parents would get upset if they leave me on the court too much, or if I'm quote unquote hogging the ball, like getting it in too much. Or it's like you can see the coaches and the parents like having their meeting, and they're talking about why their kid isn't getting X, Y, and Z, and why it's me getting it, because I can't help it. Like, I don't know what to tell them. So it became like an awkward tension being on sports teams in high school. And that's something that I felt then, but I didn't realize why it was happening. And at the time, I didn't really have the voice, I don't feel, to say something, because I really didn't understand. But looking back, I felt like a lot of my coaches and a lot of the other players' parents felt a way about me being on the team, period. So that was like the awkward shift that happened in high school. And then into real life, that's when, again, it really, really, really hit me. Even up until today with like buying a house. I buy a house and it's in a predominantly white neighborhood. And I go to like visit my neighbors and say, hey, I bought the house next door. And they'll look at me like squinch their eyes and be like, you bought it? And I'm like, yeah. And it's like this awkward tension. And it's like almost they don't want me to be their neighbor or something, or they're surprised that like a person like me can buy a house. So it's like, it's a weird dynamic when you're going into doing a lot of things for the first time and you're surrounded predominantly by people that don't look like you, that maybe haven't done it in that area yet. And there's like a shock value where there shouldn't be.
Yeah. Just to carry on with what you were saying about the whole high school and sports thing, I found that to be like a very big issue for me as well. With me, however, they made me the captain of the team, but when it came down to awards, I wouldn't get them. Like in my high school, I think out of all female athletes from the years I was there from grade 9 to grade 12, so anybody who was older than me or anybody who was there after I graduated, I think I'm the only one who went on to play sports in university. And yet when it came down to soccer, which is my sport, I didn't get an award, but they begged me to play. I remember there was a coach that said to me, oh, we need you. Are you going to play this year? I said, listen, if you're not going to tell me right now you're going to give me the award at the end of the year, I'm not playing, because I'm not going to go and do all of that, help you guys win, do all these things, take my time after school. Because mind you, I'm playing soccer outside of school. So I also have that commitment. And then at the end of it, like, because I'm who I am, you guys can't recognize me for those things. And it was hurtful because sports is what I do. So it was very hurtful. So even OFSA, for instance, which is the governing body of all sports in York Region, for York Region high schools, I got banned from playing sports because there was altercations where other predominantly white schools would come to our schools to cause problems with us. I remember we had a soccer game. My dad actually came and he took me home. And the next day I'm being called into the office because there was an altercation with the all-white school and some of the girls from the team. I wasn't there, but they pinpointed me specifically and said I was there. And it was so infuriating because it was like one of those things that, like, it's not even like I was in the school, I was on the grounds, I was not there. And they used that as a catalyst to ban you from playing sports for a couple of months in high school, you know? So these are some of the things that I carry with me. I knew what was going on at the time. I called it for what it is. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that they're being racist. And one thing that I think we need to identify too is that it's not just white people being racist. Like, other people can be racist, right? So sometimes it's the microaggressions, it's the little things that they say, make little comments. Oh, can I feel your hair? Or why does your hair look like that? Those are racism. That's racism. Those are microaggressions. Those are the little subtle things, right? So at the worst, racism is being killed for the color of your skin. But at the very least, it's the little comments that you kind of brush off or laugh off at school or a professional setting because you can't speak up for yourself because you're at risk of losing your job or getting in trouble, right? And these are some of the things.
Do you guys? Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry. Do you guys feel like you brush off those microaggressions, or do you stick up for yourself, little or big or small situations?
That's a very good question, because I feel like personally, I brush off a lot, but I feel like that's due to the fact that at the moment, it's like choosing your battles almost, and it's a shame. And that's one of the things I was thinking about when this event was coming up, was as much as I could say, oh, I had an amazing time at this school and this was great and that was great, it's almost like I'm settling, period. I'm like, it wasn't that bad. I'm like, it shouldn't be, it wasn't that bad. Like, that shouldn't be what I should say. So yeah, I'm not being killed for the color of my skin right now, but like at the same time, I shouldn't be settling for a little bit of disrespect.
Yep.
And I feel like that's what I did for a while.
I think I stood up for myself a lot at school and in the workplace, but me and Doujone have had conversations about this. I fight every single damn battle, and it doesn't get you anywhere. And it shouldn't be a choice of stay silent or talk about it and then also be looked at as something else, or not being uncooperative or unwilling to work with the people around you, right? And I think those are the two things you have to balance, and it's not fair, right? I spoke on everything. At work too, I spoke up. They like the passive aggressive stuff, not me. I rather deal with it. It's not a fight. It's let's identify the fact that we have a problem and we can stay away from each other, rather than the smiling in my face and then you're talking about me in the lunchroom, you know? So as I'm getting older, I'm realizing it's not every battle you have to fight, but that's also not okay. That I have to pick and choose, because otherwise I'm tired, really. I'm tired. So I don't know.
I feel like for me, pardon?
We lost your video.
Well, you know, I feel like when you don't say anything, sometimes it keeps going in and out, because I see you guys going in and out too. I don't know if it's just me.
Oh, okay.
Is it working now?
No.
Let's see. Bam. Bam. Now?
No.
No, it's great.
I didn't really change anything. Oh, okay. Well, I was saying, to answer my own question, I feel like I don't look at it as fighting every battle. I don't look at it as even a battle. I look at it as an acknowledgement. Like, whether it's small, medium, or large, I hit them with the, you know, that was racist, right? Acknowledge it. And then they're like, racist. Like, when you say racist, it's like it makes their head just spin.
That's worse than
you
what
make
they're doing.
But then here's the thing. I use the silence right after that to make them explain, and keep going, keep talking, defending yourself of what you meant. And when you're done with that, I'll let you know, even though you meant that, it was still racist because, and don't ever do that to me again. Like, you know, like, I felt like it did start out with me, Afia, like you, of just battle, because I would feed into the back and forth when there is no back and forth. Like, you continue what you have to say, and I'll tell you how you're going to treat me at the end of the day. And I feel like I, again, learned that through going through these harsh construction times and dealing with the whitest of whitest money hungry men, and they just are, as I said, sexist on top of racist and disrespectful. And I navigated different ways of how to work around it, and I just feel like the more direct, the better, and the less hostile, the better, and it just comes out better. Like, I feel like 9 out of 10 times it comes out like they acknowledge it, because just saying that was racist, you are racist, and period, that's it. It just makes them shake and spin and think and reflect and explain.
But I also think that there's like some sort of like defensiveness, and the word that comes to mind is white fragility, where you confront them and then it's like, me, no, the tears, oh my God. And then it's going to
let them keep going.
But then the problem is, because I work for a construction union as well. So I currently work there. So the comments of, oh, we're getting a new meeting area, maybe you can dance for us in there and stuff like that. Like feeling confident enough. Then it's one of those like, and there's a business rep talking to other construction workers. So he's supposed to.
But what if you cut it right there? You cut it, that sentence, that was racist. You know that?
Yeah, like the awkwardness is what we try to avoid, but it is what it is. I feel uncomfortable and awkward. You should as well. Explain yourself. Like, I know what you're saying. I will definitely
make them away.
But I find they run to like HR, and then they'll get to the office manager before you. Because for me, I said what I had to say, so I'm done. I'm good. But they'll run to HR, and then it's like the tears and like, oh my God, she said this and this. But what you're saying is right. There's no back and forth. I said that was racist. Explain yourself, and done. So I will adopt that. I like that. I definitely like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't work in an
environment. I feel like for me, I was hostile, and then when I took that hostile away, it got easier.
Okay.
But yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. I feel like I just have a different approach. I feel like in my life, I don't work closely with a lot of strangers, first of all. And when I left school, it was like I was just entrepreneuring my way through life. So I never really had experiences other than with like elderly people who I was taking care of in like long-term care homes or in their homes or whatever, that were just racist. They lived their whole life racist. So when they say racist remarks, I'm just look at them and I'm like, okay, like they are who they are.
You're not gonna,
and you're not me, and I'm not. It's a chip off my shoulders. But when it comes to people who I hang around with, people who are close to me, I take it when they say something to me that I'm uncomfortable with or that is racist, I take it as a learning experience. I'm like, okay, you're about to learn something right now because I'm about to tell you why what you said was the wrong thing to say, and I'm going to lay it out for you. Because a lot of the times, the people who I grew up with who are close to me, they don't know. They've never walked in my shoes. They literally don't know how racism works as a millennial in Canada. They have no idea. They're like, oh, you walk in a store and you have to think about it? I'm like, yeah, they really don't know. So it's like, let me educate you as your maybe one Black friend or whatever. Let me let you know. And the thing is, right now,
okay, sorry.
Right now, at the time, at the age that I'm at, a lot of my friends are having kids. And a lot of my friends do have mixed kids. And they're starting to be like, huh, because they didn't experience it, but now they're kind of seeing it in their kids. And I'm like, yeah, I lived that life. Let me explain to you.
But their families too, though. That's the problem I have with all of that. Because like I feel like a lot of the times it's like, oh, I didn't know that. It's ignorance and stuff. But to me, it's like there's a lot of things that even they might have said and their families feel. And then they have these mixed children. And I think people think that absolves them of racism. And no, it doesn't. Just because you had a kid with a Black person does not mean you like Black people or your family likes Black people. That's not what that means. There's work that has to be done. And I feel like people, white people especially, I think they have to do the work. They say that racism is alert behavior and alert ideology, but it's almost innate, I feel like. It's like embedded in everything that white people do. It's like society just makes you feel like you are better. So therefore, even if you're not going out of your way to exert yourself over people, is happening regardless. So I think there's a lot of work that has to be done to unlearn the racism and unlearn and understand how the color of your skin gives you privileges that I don't get, right? And it's not because necessarily that you wanted that privilege, but it came with you because you were born the way you were born. Like I was born the way I was born. So I don't know, like figuring it out now, finding out those things now, it's like, okay, cool, but you have to do the work because now you have children who are gonna grow up confused, who don't know where they identify. Half their family doesn't like them. The other half is confused as well. Like there's so much more. And I feel like people who have children who are mixed, my children are mixed as well. They're mixed as well. But I have to do the work because they do have white family that are, let me feel your hair. Let me do this. Let me do this. And it's confusing, right? So I have to kind of counteract that and kind of explain to my children why these things are happening. These are the things that go on. And I feel like parents of mixed children most definitely have to do those things.
And I guess to touch on one thing you guys both said on the teaching and learning aspect, I feel like, yes, it's our job to teach our kids, if we have mixed kids, our really close friends, if we have white ones who are not getting it, but it's not our job to teach the general white public how to treat us. They got to figure it out. We don't have time for that. You see what realm we're in. You need to take action. Like, that's how I feel. I'm not teaching you shit. Like, that's how I feel.
100%. Yeah.
But I kind of got to hop out of here. I got a workshop at 3. I thought this was like 2:30 to 3, like bam. Yeah. But this was fun.
Yeah,
that was it. I'm not teaching you ish. That was my close. But
it's crazy because in schools you literally learn in a lot of different professions. You learn about cultural competency. It's a thing, and I don't understand why it's not a thing for us. It's a thing. Even when I went to the native reserves, you have to learn to respect their culture, respect their way of living, have some type of cultural competency. You're not going to go there and change things. Yeah. And you go to high school and all of a sudden you want to straighten your hair all the time. You want to do this. It's like they're trying to change us. Where's the cultural competency?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We learn about how to deal with Asian culture in the business life, how to deal with Indian culture when I'm dealing with like developers and stuff, how to deal with Canadian culture, how to deal with American culture. But what about like Native American, same thing, but the culture that's basically leading us, making the world money on top of everything, and we don't have that respect shown towards us as well.
So it's not even there.
That's the school system is a whole hot mess, and that's our first introduction.
It's Black History Month, and I'm still waiting to see what my son's teacher did.
My kid learned about slavery.
But yeah, ladies.
Okay, thank you.
I gotta go. This was fun. And continue. Yeah, I feel empowered. I'm not taking anything from anybody, and I'll just keep my calm tone, Wusa.
Right.
And that's it. Oh, Sue's here. How you doing? Hey, Sue. But yeah.
Okay, we'll see you.
So the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, I don't know. The school system is very disappointing. That's what we're fighting against now. When I say I'm tired, I've been fighting for myself and my children for years, but to fight for Black people as a whole, I've been doing it basically since May, and I'm exhausted. Common sense things are not common sense.
Right.
And it's scary because school and school teachers are the gatekeepers, for our children. And they're not doing anything to check biases, right? You can go in and say in your mandate and your mission statement, equality and equity for all, but what are you guys doing? What's in the curriculum to show that you guys give a damn that there's people? You guys are teaching Eurocentric curriculum. That has nothing to do with me. Oh yeah, Europeans came and colonized Africa. I know that. I don't need to like everything else, which we should learn, but it shouldn't be like the dominant thing that we're learning, right? And the way that we're learning it. And the school boards are so behind. Peele got shamed into doing something. Peele District School Board, they got shamed, okay, publicly embarrassed for the things that were going on there. Now they're doing the work. York Region is so far behind. They're so far behind. Right. And it's so sad. And it's like, we're expected to go to these schools and send our children to these schools and have teachers who don't look like them. And even the teachers that do look like them, somewhere along the way forgot that they are also people of color. And they're trying to prove themselves to their colleagues. And so they forget what they went through. And so they're the ones inflicting probably the worst, the harsher things on the kids that look like them because they're trying to prove a point, right?
And it's a shame because I want to say that we're taking steps in the right direction, but it shouldn't be that way. It should have been done right to start with because we're in Canada. You would think that as a melting pot, that there would be certain things that are just initiated the correct way. But our education system and the way that they're not including this melting pot ideology that they like to call Canada into our education system makes you think and wonder, like, what is Canada really trying to do here? And why is our education system so far behind? I don't think they're behind. I think they're exactly where they wanted to be.
They're cool where they're at, for sure. They're cool where they're at. Right. We find when we're fighting the fight, because we were having a whole issue with York Region District School Board. Our city is named after a slave owner. At our protest we found that out. We called for the mayor to change it. The mayor says it doesn't matter. It's named after him. He never stepped foot here. Who cares? What do you mean, who cares? You're a white man. You cannot understand why we care. And even when we're trying to explain it to you, you're refusing to hear us. And you're dismissing how we feel in our hurt. We got the school named after him. So Vaughan Secondary, we got that name taken down. And we're in the process of getting it renamed after a Somali Canadian journalist. They're having a field day with that because she's not only Black, she's Muslim. It's too much. Too many intersectionalities there, and they can't handle it. So we're waiting for the results of that, which is on the 2nd. And yeah, so it's just difficult. And one thing I did want to say was even us buying things as a millennial, we have to think about the brands that we shop at. Do these people really like me or not? Like Tommy Hilfiger don't, Louis Vuitton don't, Walmart don't like us, Becca Foundation, Becca Makeup Foundation and stuff like that, they don't like us. There's so many things that we got to think about that other people don't. Are we supporting people who don't like us? And it's hard. It's not fair.
Yeah. Any wrapping up words?
Do the work, ladies and gentlemen. Any Black people listening to this, listen, like, we're fighting the fight. We need to bridge the gap. We need to stand up for ourselves. Don't stay silent. We don't need to argue, but we need to let people know we're no longer going to stand for the bullshit. Let's keep it going. And for the people who are not Black, please, there's resources. If you want to know, if you are open to understanding, to broadening your horizons, there's resources. Search it up on Google.
Amen to Google. For me, I just want to say thanks for having us here, Dwania. It's an amazing conversation. I definitely learned from you guys. And I feel like even as a Black woman, learning from other Black women's experiences have taught me a lot on my journey, because there was some ignorance from me as well. And there's some things that even colorism we haven't gotten into that's going on as well. So thank all of you guys for coming. Let's keep having this conversation. Let's keep shaking the floor. I love that as a millennial, as Black millennials, we are talking in ways that have never been discussed before. Let's keep having the conversations that are uncomfortable.
Right. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Dwania. Hi, Sue. Have a great day, guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye.